Okay, Julie, our why of the week is tell us your why. Why did you start your company and explore sensory play kits?
Yeah, so I started Young, Wild, and Friedman when my oldest daughter was she was 3 years old and she wasn't talking, and we were noticing some like pretty serious delays. And so I had a educational specialist come into our house and do a 2-day evaluation. They were kind of like, we don't know what's going on with her, but you should start incorporating sensory play into her daily routine. And I was like 24 years old at this time, maybe 25. And I had like never heard the word sensory play. That was just like not a buzzword, 10 years ago. And so I just started Googling it and reading about the benefits of sensory play with all children, but especially kids with delays. And so I started making homemade Play-Doh and putting it in little themed boxes for her. And my goal was just to help her with her delays. And so that is why I started it.
That's so amazing. Yeah, Chelsea and I kind of have similar-ish
Yeah,
stories where
I
like
was just gonna say that. It's like just like
both,
us.
yeah, both of our first children had sensory issues and
Mhm.
delays, and that whole route to motherhood probably wasn't what you were expecting, right?
No, it certainly was not, especially like I got married as soon as I graduated from A&M. And like 3 months later, I found out I was pregnant and I was like, well, heck, okay, guess we'll do the thing. And yeah, I think like you just expect like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like so fun and exciting. I'm gonna have my little mini me. And then it's like, wait, whoa, 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 this is like not like she's not acting the same way as like the other kids at the playground. And you start like you're like, oh shoot. And then there's also this like total like denial where you're like, no, she's fine. So yeah, we felt all the feels and went through all of the things with that.
100%. I think that our entire audience, that's literally where they are at right now. So
Mhm.
they will relate to that so much.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 12. She'll be 13 this summer, which is insane because I don't feel like I'm old enough to have a 13-year-old, but
No, you look like you're
here I
19.
am. I
You
wish.
look amazing.
I feel like I'm 19. I'm just not.
Well, you were a young mom also, right? So you can't be older than what, 32?
36.
You're 36. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I
When
know.
this clip comes out on social media, you guys need to run and see
Right.
how
Whatever.
young you look, truly. Well, for moms that are listening now, how is your daughter doing? Is she thriving? Are there things you're still working on? Like, I think that would be really insightful for a lot of parents.
No, totally. Obviously, like the start of it was just like a huge like whirlwind because when your kid, like she was diagnosed with childhood apraxia of speech when she was 5. Because when she was 5, she still like was not talking. Like in her, the way that she was talking did not sound like talking. She had
Yeah.
kind of like her own like little language. I remember I like will look back on these like video clips that I would take of her like in her room because she would only like talk to her little Mickey Mouse in her room, and then like around people she like wouldn't. And I have these little videos and she's like, Mimi, I'm Hana ma Mimi ho, and it sounds like
Oh my gosh,
some
I know exactly
fake
what you're talking about.
language.
Yes.
And I was like, what on earth? And she would have these like full conversations with Mimi Mao. And I would like record them for the doctor because I'm like, what is happening here? Like, what is this? Like, does she speak Chinese? Like, I do not know.
Totally. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. You don't sound crazy at all.
Yes. And so I was like, wait, what happened? And it got to the point where like we could kind of like understand a lot of her like dialect. Like she had her baby brother and she'd call him like Bibiya, and that would be like baby Rhett. And like everything we like still like say all of these, you like incorporate your kids like
Yes.
funny phrases into your life. Like she used
100%.
to always ask to watch Daniel Tiger and have 2 snacks. And she'd be like, Danta tunak. So like even my friend brought this up the other day. She was like,
Love that.
we like still when our kids are like, can we watch Daniel Tiger? We're like, Dantai tunak?
Yeah.
Like, yes. So good. And So anyway, like it was like so not funny back then because we're like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? And now like looking back, we can like laugh and be like, like everyone has their stuff, like, and basically, I mean, we just like went through all of the stages of trying to like figure out what was going on with her. And I feel like every single year we had like a new diagnosis. So first it was like, it was like a speech delay. And then it was like all of like every speech thing you can think of. Like I can't even remember all the terms that we had. And she was always in speech therapy, and then she was diagnosed with selective mutism because she never spoke in a school setting until she was 8. And so there was that whole like concept that like or diagnosis that was added, and she has like severe anxiety and she's got OCD, and it's just like this layers of like, oh my God. But like, sensory play is like totally proven to like calm kids that do have anxiety, and it's great for fine motor skills. It helps with nerve connections in the brain. Like it can bring out language development. And so, we just kept like adding that to our routine. And like over time, I do feel like it like really did help her, coupled with like a ton of therapy. She went to a special school that was for kids with speech disorders in Houston, which was like a huge blessing for us. It was called the Parish School, and like people move from like all over the US to go to this school because it's just like such like a niche school for, I mean, it's hard to find a school for kids that have speech disorders. And so her teacher was an SLP, and then like they had an assistant, and like it was like full-time speech. And so that school is actually like where they got her talking, where she like overcame her selective mutism. And now like fast forward to she's 12, and now she's in like a little tiny Christian school in Houston, which is so nice because we didn't know where to put her after Parish because they end at like at 11 is like kind of you kind of have to move on. And so we've been like really lucky to find a place that will accommodate her, and like a bunch of her little friends from Parish go there now too. And so she's doing great, gets a little better every year. And we're just, kind of on the up and up. We still totally like have our challenges, but things get a little better every year. And so can't complain.
Do you have any idea, or did doctors have any idea what could have triggered like the speech apraxia? Or do you have like a mom gut instinct where you're like, I think it could have been that, or anything like that?
uh, Not with like sounding like a conspiracy theorist. So
No, no,
probably
no. I was just gonna say this is a safe space, and that's why
This
I'm
is the
asking the
place to do
question.
it.
Yeah.
no, not really. Honestly, like at the end of the day, I think like God uniquely made her exactly how she was supposed to be. And I could go back and be like, oh, well, in my pregnancy, I had a single umbilical artery, and like that's what caused this. Or I could, say, oh my gosh, I took Tylenol, or, like I could
Yeah.
do like, with everything in life, you could blame it on something or put it somewhere. But I like genuinely do believe that like God makes no mistakes. And I think he made her like perfectly and wonderfully made, exactly how she was supposed to be. And I think that I kind of like at the beginning when I like got her all of her diagnoses, I remember just like being like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, why? And I think like I've grown so much as a person and as a mom having a child with like differences, and it's like taught me just so much. And so I don't think like I can't like pin it on anything, but yeah.
A mom whose daughter had speech apraxia, when I got my daughter's genetic deletion diagnosis, helped me so much. Like,
Wait, what
just
deletion does your daughter have?
it's called 15q13.3. There's like so many.
No, Evie has a duplication that's like
Oh, wow.
tiny. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I like never talk about it because like no one knows what it is. And it's like they just kind of discovered it like 10
Yeah.
years ago. So there's literally no research on it.
Yeah.
And so there's like no like science to even help me like navigate it. But the
Totally.
kids that they have studied that have the little duplication, she has 99% of them do have like speech problems or
Right.
apraxia.
Yeah.
So that is like crazy.
Yeah, but she helped, even though my daughter doesn't have speech apraxia and has a totally different microdeletion than what her daughter had, it just
Mm-hmm.
helped me so much talking to a mom. It's almost like you speak the same language, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, here's a great OT you can go to, here's a great speech
Yes,
therapist. So even
totally.
just, I think when moms whose child has anything, right, they can come together, even if it's not the same
Yeah,
exact
totally.
issue or whatever, and it helps
Mm-hmm.
so much. So I
It
want
really
to
does.
rewind. So, from when you got your daughter's diagnosis, when did you start Young, Wild, and Friedman?
So I feel like we had like layers of diagnoses or however you'll say that. Like we
Yeah.
had like the, like speech delay. And then we had the apraxia at 5. And then we didn't find out about her little deletion until, or duplication, whatever, until she was like almost 6. And like, let me date back my years. Let's see. Um, so she was born in 2012. So in like 2016, I started like making the homemade Play-Doh, but I
Okay.
was not selling it. Like, I mean, I had 3 kids, one of them was a newborn. Um, and I was like not about to like try to start a business. But I was in Dallas at the time and I was making her these little play kits, and my friends were like, these are so cute. Like, I was posting them on Instagram because I had made Young, Wild, and Friedman an Instagram account when I had found out about Evie's stuff because I was posting all the little activities I was doing with her, all my sensory play stuff on Snapchat. And they would just like delete, and people were like, wait, I want to go back and like copy that, but it's gone. So like, can you put this in like a permanent space, like on blog or something? And I was like, yeah, I don't have the energy for a blog, but I can make an Instagram account. And so I was posting like little, like if you date back to like my very first Instagram post, it's like dyed spaghetti and like frozen water and like, little like all these activities. And so I was posting them there, and I was like getting DMs, and they were like, "Hey, can you make me one of those Play-Doh kits?" And I was like, sure, like why not? And so then I kind of started making them like one off for people, and it was just kind of like a fun, creative outlet. And I never would have like ever imagined like something would become of it. And then I remember I had a friend that was hosting like the little trunk show, and she was like, will you like set up a little booth with your Play-Doh kits? And I was like, oh, that'd be so fun. Like it was like a Christmas themed thing. And so I remember I like drove to IKEA and I bought like 40 of the little clear boxes I used to use. And I made like Play-Doh all week and for it. And I was like driving around like Hobby Lobbies and Michael's and Dollar Trees, like buying all the little trinkets to like fill it. And I like went to this trunk show, and it was like supposed to be a 2-day thing. And within like the first couple hours, I was like sold out of everything. And I was like, dang. And I was like so thrilled. And I called my husband and I'm like, people like this stuff. This is so weird. I don't know why they don't just go make it themselves. And Kara's like, yeah, moms don't like to do that kind of stuff. Like it's so much work. I was like, yeah, but I've always had like such a like creative knack. I like enjoy that kind of stuff. And so that kind of was like, well, I guess like people want these. And we had then moved back to Houston, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to like do a sale for these. Like I made like a ridiculous website. It was on like I can't even remember the platform, like Squarespace or like some like blog platform. I had no idea. I am
Like
not.
the DIY websites. Yeah.
Yes, it was like youngwildandfreeman.squarespace.shop.com.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. I like posted it on Instagram, and I was like, all right, on Tuesday at 7 p.m. I'm launching an ocean kit. And I like put it up, and I went to my friend's house for dinner, and I like checked it at like 8, and it said that they were or sold out. And I was like, oh no, I never loaded on. I had a glitch on my first ever website. Great. And then I click and I was like, oh wait, they actually all sold. And I was like wigging out because it was like in 30 minutes I had sold, all 60 of the little kits that I had made. And so I was like, what? I was like, woo! So the next week I was like, I'm gonna do it again. Like, because people were like commenting, they were like mad, this sold out, I didn't get one. Like, my comments are like blowing up. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Awesome.
So then the next week I was like, all right, guys, I'm launching 100 baking kits or 150. I made like a ton. I spent like 2 weeks making them, and I had like friends coming over helping me pack them. And I launched them at 7, and at 7:01 I was sold out. And
Oh my gosh.
this has to have glitched. And I like refreshed, and like my little ship station had all the orders. And I was like, okay,
How
people
cool.
want the Play-Doh. And so yeah, that was kind of like the start of it that made me realize like, okay, you know what? No one was doing this then. Like you could only buy store-bought, stinky, crumbly Play-Doh back then.
Yeah.
Like that, unless you were gonna make it yourself. Like there were no like curated things. Like Etsy didn't have any of this stuff. Like I just had kind of like stumbled upon a cool box at IKEA and thought it'd be a good thing to hold the Play-Doh. And then it turned out like moms like love a beautiful presentation and like something that you can put back and reuse. And so I think it kind of like really appealed to moms, which also like obviously like our kids entertain kids for hours. I mean, like
Yeah.
Sadler is 4.5 and she plays with the Play-Doh kit every day for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, how are you not sick of this? You have unlimited Play-Doh, and it's like all she wants to do. It's her favorite toy. And so I think it's just like a good thing the kids love, and it's good for them. And so moms feel good buying it. And yeah, so I just think I kind of like won the like ultimate, like I got really lucky making something that kids and moms like loved and approved of.
Well, I will say too, we were talking before we started recording, and I said the same thing. I said, your box is one of the only things that will keep my kids busy for more than literally 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And and it's a really good price point. Like when I open it and my husband's like, you got all that for that much? Like
Yeah.
How much
I
are they? How
know.
much are the boxes?
They are $39.99.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be more.
yeah,
So
and you
Based on
get
what you're
like
describing and all the work
they're
you're putting into
good
it, I'm like,
price
whoa.
point.
you get
Yes.
3 really good sized Play-Dohs. It comes with like
Hmm.
little cookie cutters and stamps and
Oh my
like
gosh, my kids would love this. They're obsessed
yeah,
with it though. I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
one.
yeah, no, you have
They're
to.
awesome. And now we have
Amazing.
like so many like custom items in there. And like everyone, they all come with like wooden rolling pins and custom
Yeah.
little wooden stampers. And some of them have peg people. And they have like tons of great activities. Like they're all like super curated to like make sure to like engage your kids for as long as possible. Like it's not just a bunch of junk in a box. It has like
Right.
functions and things to do with it.
Yeah. For the grab, you have a grab and go jar, and I bought
Yeah.
those for my daughter's like party favor gift
Uh-huh.
for her birthday.
So
And
cute.
one of the moms texted me and she goes, "What is this? It smells so good. My son thought he could eat it. Like, this is amazing." Like, but it's, it smells good, but it's
It does.
natural
It
and
smells so
it's
good. Yeah.
not like gross Play-Doh.
I know Evie wouldn't play with Play-Doh because of the way it smelled. It like made
Yeah.
her feel well,
Yeah.
which is funny because some people like love that smell, but she just like it was not for her. Do you know they have like a patent on their smell, which is
Interesting.
hilarious. Like they are proud of that smell. So
Hmm.
I think like, some people love it. But it was just not for us.
Conspiracy theorist in me is like, why did they patent that smell?
I
Like,
have
what
no idea.
is it
We'll never
addicting?
know.
Now I need to know.
You're like, what's in it?
Yeah.
That's
So,
hilarious.
what challenges did you face transitioning from stay-at-home mom to a full-blown, like large scale? I mean, I know over
CEO,
time.
basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is such a good question. And it's such like a loaded question because it's so hard to like think back and like really truly remember like it was like I've always kind of had a spring in my butt. Like I love to do something. I've never just like been a fully stay-at-home mom. Like even like right when I had Evie, I started making like little hair bows and I was selling them on Etsy. And then I got a monogram machine for Christmas because I like really wanted to monogram her clothes, but I couldn't like afford to pay to get them all monogrammed. And so I asked my mother-in-law always buys us like a really like great Christmas gift. And I remember I asked for like a monogram machine. She was like, okay. And so she got me this monogram machine and I learned how to use it. And I started monogramming all of Evie's clothes because that was like so the trend in 2012 to have like a huge
And
monogram
like
on
so Southern,
everything.
right?
Oh, it
I
was
feel like
so
that's such a
Southern. Yeah, in
Southern, yeah.
Texas, it was like if it wasn't monogrammed, like you were not cool. And
Yeah.
so I mean, like every t-shirt was like Abby, like giant, like screaming at you. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God.
So funny.
It's like so ridiculous. So I was doing that, and I had like started a Etsy monogramming business, and that like was like booming. I mean, I was slaying it at the monogram thing, and like it was so like fun and creative, but it was like became like really monotonous to where it was like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing like over and over and over and over. And you can only monogram like so many things in like an hour. And so then I had bought this like $15,000 monogram machine that I had like saved up my money to buy. It has like 10 needles and it's like super fast and it can do all the colors. I still have it. I'm like, it's like, I can't get rid of it
You
because it
can't
was
get
like,
rid of it now. Yeah.
it was like a pivotal, like, wow, this was like my first time to ever like really like save up and invest in something that like turned into like this great business. And it was so great. And I ended up like, I was still doing that when I like started making the Play-Doh. And it like very quickly was like, well, I can make a lot more Play-Doh boxes in an hour than I can monogram onesies. And so I like kind of was like, all right, this makes more sense. And this is more fun. But so I've always like done something, but I think like this Play-Doh thing took off like just like it was like a rapid fire, like there was no like, oh, let's like scale and grow this. It was like a like holy crud, you have 200 orders. And like so I think that like for those first couple of years, I mean my house was where I was making it, and my house was covered in like I had a industrial, you know, giant mixer in the middle of my kitchen that like our family had to like walk around. My counters were covered in Play-Doh. Our living room had turned in, or our living and dining room were filled floor to ceiling with like huge clear storage bins filled with like tiny tchotchkes. Um, and so it like took over our house. And my husband was like, hey, I think that you should look into like maybe renting something else for this. Like,
He's like, I don't want to look at this anymore.
he was like, it's like taking over our house. Like we had like our feet like propped up on boxes, like watching TV one night. And he was like, I think maybe. And so that's when I like ended up renting a house a few like blocks away because like no zoning in Houston. And because I was like, you have to have, I was like, I have to have a kitchen to make the Play-Doh because I have to boil
Oh, I
water
didn't
and
even
like,
think about that. Yeah.
yeah. And I like was so like narrow-minded back then. I didn't like think you could get like put like a stove somewhere that wasn't a kitchen. Uh, and now we have like a huge warehouse with like all of these little like, you know, induction stove tops. And I'm like, oh, you can do this. But so I like moved into like another house, and then like within 6 months, I mean, we had like Play-Doh coming out of the windows of this house, and my landlord was like, hey, this is like not cool. And so then I like got a warehouse space, and then a few 6 months into that, we have like we're bursting out of the warehouse space. And I remember this sweet little construction company across the street from us was like, y'all are embarrassing us. Like we would have like bubble wrap like containers like outside because we couldn't fit them in, and they were like so nice to us, but it was like they're like, you're making us look kind of bad, like people are coming here to like, and they're like looking across the street and like, what's this like. And now those people like moved into my neighborhood, and I'm like, oh god. That was I was like, oh god, I'm so sorry. Hello.
Play-Doh lady.
Play-Doh lady.
No, y'all, I'm sorry. But you know, every year we've moved and moved and moved and moved, and now we're in like our, I feel like we're in like our fifth place, and we have 40,000 square feet of space. But so, you know, the transition was just like, it was so fast that it's hard to like even quantify it. I think I was just like so in the thick of it that I didn't even really notice that I like wasn't that, you know, like I guess obviously like I wasn't hanging out with my friends as much, and I was so busy. And like I remember on like Sundays after church, like Kerr would like I would like go to the Play-Doh factory, and Kerr would go home with the kids because I had to like work. I had to make kids. Like I had someone had to do it. And I remember like a few years after I was like not in such the thick of it, somebody had like made a comment about like, you know, like the Dallas Cowboys, and Kerr like said something like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Kurt, you don't even watch football. What are you talking about? And he was like, Julie, we're not home on Sundays. I watch football every Sunday with the kids. Like, I was like, what? You didn't even know that. So, I think it was just such a phase, but now it's like, it's so much better now. Like my life is so much more balanced, which is great.
That's amazing. What advice do you have for moms who, like you have multiple kids, you have 4 kids, right?
For
Especially if you could go back to that time, right? When your husband's watching your kids on Sunday and you're like in the warehouse slinging orders. What advice do you have for moms who are still trying to keep that connection with their husband or wife and they're both so busy and almost seemingly on separate schedules?
Yeah, that is such a good question. I feel like our relationship, I feel like has over the years, like, like anybody, I feel like we have like these like really great strong moments and these moments where we're like, wait, do I even like you? And then you're like back at it. And I think that it has like so much to do with the age of your kids, how stressful like your husband's job is. Like I remember when we were in Dallas, Kurt had like just the worst job ever. Like he did not like his job and he was working like terrible hours and I was like pregnant and hormonal and like I was like, you're never even here. And he's like, well, I'm trying to support our family. And I was like, well, and like I think I was also dealing with all Evie's like diagnoses and I felt like, oh my gosh, like, do you even care that we're going through all this? Um and so like I remember that being like such a stage of like our marriage and not feeling like we were on the same page and we weren't connected and like whatever. And then we like moved to Dallas and Kerr like started his own business and he like got his like laugh back and he was like happy again. And I was like, oh my God, you're back. And then, like Rhett wasn't a newborn. Like, and it's like when you're not sleeping and you have like a bunch of people to keep alive and your husband's like really busy and you don't have help, that is like not a like super like great setup for like a thriving human.
Sustainable.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's not. And I think like moms like just have to know that like there are going to be stages of motherhood and of life where it's just going to be a lot harder and a lot lonelier and a lot, they're just going to be those stages, but it's not forever. Like it is so like temporary. Like you think of like the newborn stage, which I like love, but like a lot of people don't, where I hate the not sleeping part. Let's get real. But it is so temporary. Like I told my sister just had a baby and she was like dying. Like she was like, he doesn't sleep and I'm gonna die. And I was like, come to Houston, I'll like keep him for a night and like you can sleep. And she was just like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, this is like literally how it works. Like it will push you until you're actually about to die and then he'll sleep through the night. And then like literally she was like about to die. And then she called me and was like, he slept. He slept. I was like on my breaking point. And then he slept. And now he's like, like, and it's only been a couple weeks, but it's like you already like kind of forget how like Ms. you were.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just like something like moms need to just be aware of that like you are gonna have lows and you are gonna but they're temporary usually and like this too shall pass.
It's so true. And that's such good advice. And I think, especially when you add, the added stress of like multiple therapies for your children and
And the expenses, like none of that stuff is covered.
none of it. And it's something you weren't expecting, right? So
Yeah.
it's just this added blow of like, oh my gosh, like I can totally relate. The first 3 years of my daughter's life were like therapy, therapy, therapy. And we were hitting it so hard. And it
Yeah.
all work, no play,
Yep.
it's a season of life and we got through it. And, there will always be challenges, right? In parenthood and motherhood and with your partner. And I think it's good advice for moms to remember that it's not always going to be like that.
Yeah, it's not. And like now, our kids are older and like I feel like Kurt and my relationship is the best it's like ever been. Like we
Yeah.
are in like such a great spot. And I remember like when I did this is like just another like little pro tip on like I feel like something that bonded us, which is funny because like going from not really like monogram business was like a business, but it wasn't like so much of a business as Young Wild and Friedman is. And like having like moving kind of into like a more like working job with like managing people and like all of these things, it like gave Kerr and I like so much more to talk about. Cause it's like I remember he would come home and I'd be like, how was your day? And he'd like talk about like what he did at work or whatever. And then I'd be like, well, Souther had diarrhea. The dog threw up. Oh, I clogged the toilet. Like, I mean, what, like,
You
I
just
was like,
described my life,
I had like
literally.
nothing to say. I was like, oh my God, like what did I do today? And so I feel like that was like such like an unexpected kind of like fun piece that was added to when I did have a job. I'd be like, oh, okay, like I have this new marketing plan or like this idea. And it was like kind of fun to get to like bounce like business ideas off of each other and like just the thing that I like hadn't like thought about. So we would do like we were members of this little racket club in Houston and it has childcare. And so like once or twice a week we would like go and have like happy hour, put the kids in childcare, and like that was how we would like reconnect. And it was like
amazing. That sounds amazing.
it was like free childcare and they had like discount happy hour with free like appetizers. And so we were like, ooh, we can afford this. Like, let's go. So back then that was like such like I remember that being like a pivotal like piece that like really helped like connect us, like finding time to like do something that was, that we could like actually talk and stuff. So yeah, there's that.
I love that. So let's end with like telling us, like get into the nitty gritty of Young Wild and Freeman. You have so many different kits now. You have Play-Doh kits, you have sensory kits. Tell us about all the different kits. Where can moms buy them? Go into one more time, like the benefits of sensory play for children.
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty gritty of your business.
Yeah, no, we have like a ridiculous amount of themes. We have a monthly subscription where you can get one every month. Like we come out with 2 new themes every month for our subscribers. We've got
I have that, by the way.
Oh, good. I love
The
that.
subscription.
So
My mother, either my mom or my mother-in-law, I forget which one, got it for us for the kid's
nice.
birthday. And it's like, I swear when I'm at my breaking point of 4 p.m. and that box comes, I'm like, woohoo!
You're like,
it's
yes,
here.
it is. It's like the gift that keeps giving. And I love that you can use it over and over again. Like I take one every time we go to my kids' baseball games, and I have like 7 little kids. They're all the little kids gather around the Play-Doh box and they play with it the whole game. And it's like, it's just it's so cool. But we have like all types of sensory play products, ranging from $7 to $39. We've got class gifts that you can buy that are like candy free. We do like Halloween treats and last day of the school jars. We've got sensory bins that are filled with these like fun, like kinetic type sands. We make all of our Play-Doh in Houston in-house. It's all natural. It smells great. It's made with food grade ingredients. We're like so proud. We employ like 40 amazing hardworking women that pack all the kits and make all of the Play-Doh. And we've been growing year after year. It's so much fun. I mean, we shipped like all over the US, slinging dough, and yeah, it's just like amazing to have a product that like we said, is beneficial and great for kids. Like it is so hard to find something that will entertain your kids as long as a TV show. And so like as a mom, like when we're cooking dinner, it's like, what is the option? Like I either have to turn on a TV show or have to like walk them outside physically to like be able to do anything. And so it's so nice to have like this great screen-free alternative that your kids can do like inside. It entertains them alone, or it like brings siblings together. It's like so great for their imaginations. Like it's like when we were little, don't you remember like how we would like imaginative play like 24/7? That was like all we did. It was like, okay, you're the baby and I'm the mom, and like that's all we did. And like kids these days just aren't really playing like that anymore, because they're, instead of like playing a game, they're watching somebody on YouTube play with Barbies instead of them play with Barbies. And
I literally
like
had this conversation yesterday with my husband.
It's so weird. And like I've
weird.
seen my kids doing that. I'm like, why don't you play with your American Girl dolls? Like, why are you watching her do it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching her and I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong? Whoa, this is weird.
I know.
And so I think that like our kids are so great for like bringing out that like childlike imagination that kids are supposed to be doing. It's so good for them. And they're like missing out on so many opportunities in this day and age to like play like a kid. And I mean, it has like, I feel like they're like hidden benefits because the kids don't know that they're like working on their fine motor skills, which they're going to need to be able to hold a pencil and write one day, but they are like squeezing the Play-Doh and doing all that stuff builds all those tiny little muscles in your hands that you need to be able to write and hold your pencil correctly. It also is like, I mean, it's proven to like for cognitive development, it builds nerve connections in your brain. So it's like it makes you smarter, like doing sensory play. I think it's so great for socialization. It like you put two kids together with a Play-Doh kit, and like I mean they're gonna play so great together, and they're gonna come up feed off of each other's imaginations and build out all of these little play scenes. And so there's just like countless benefits that go like beyond just imagination, but also great for speech development, which we really needed. So that was a win-win. Yeah, so I just feel like really lucky to have a product that people like love and need and is like beneficial. And I honestly just can't believe it's real life. So
Julie, are your kids gluten-free? Like, how are you making your dough? I'm curious.
oh, with like millions of pounds of all-purpose flour. But we also have a gluten-free option for like
Oh,
allergy
amazing. I
kiddos.
love it.
So
Okay.
we have like this sweet girl in Houston who her son has celiac,
Okay.
and she makes our gluten-free Play-Doh at like her house in like a gluten-free home because we wanted to make sure
Cool.
there was like
Okay.
no cross-contamination. And so we do have that option for kiddos that are allergic to flour.
Amazing. This is
Yeah.
like such an amazing gift. I actually had a parent the other day ask me, like,
Hmm.
because I deal a lot with food allergies. That's why I asked
Yeah.
about the gluten and
Hmm.
like food sensitivities.
Yeah.
And so she's like, what should I put in my daughter's Easter basket? This would make
Oh,
a
perfect.
phenomenal
I know.
Easter basket. Like instead of
It
doing
would.
candy
Yeah.
or food that they, kids react poorly
Hmm.
to, like food dyes or things like that, like, oh my gosh, get them a Play-Doh kit.
Yeah. It's the best
That's
gift.
actually what I'm gonna do is for
Yeah.
my
It's
kids
Yeah.
so great.
because such a
That's
good
what I
idea
literally
and it's done for you.
I
Yeah,
do that for
totally.
all
It's
the
the
holidays, like
perfect gift.
Valentine's
Can't go
Day.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah, did it.
I know.
Okay, well, Julie, thank you so much for joining us. For people who are not familiar with you, give us your Instagram handle, give us your website. Where can people buy Young, Wild,
Right.
and Friedman boxes?
My Instagram is just Young, Wild, and Friedman. So check us out there. We've got like little videos that show you how we use it all. There's a lot of fun behind the scenes if you want to see how it's made. And then on our website is www.youngwildandfriedman.com.
Okay, Julie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.